This essay example, as well as thousands of others, is available in text format on our website for free and without registration. Simply Google Ivy Panda Free Essays.
Introduction. Education should be a right, not a privilege. This argument stems from a basic understanding of a right. If something is a right, then its removal should cause negative consequences. However, if people treat it as a privilege, its negation should cause neutral repercussions. The removal of education can cause severe consequences, so this illustrates that education ought to be a right. Arguments. The United Nations recognizes education as a fundamental right, as outlined in its charter. It argues that every child is entitled to free fundamental education in Article 26. Many believe that this will contribute towards the betterment of society. Education is required to foster societal development. If it is made a privilege, societies will not prosper. Such an approach will undermine the nation's economic, social, and political development. Education is an avenue for teaching young people about the importance of discipline, respect for authority, and rules. These things can be taught easily when education is a right. However, if it is a privilege, the prerogative will be on parents and guardians, yet some may not do this very well. Education also facilitates the detection of dangerous situations like abuse and neglect in homes. It is imperative to make schooling a right to address these concerns. Making education a right would cause adults to invest in their future professionals. Members of society require the services of doctors, lawyers, mechanics, and electricians. When schooling is a right, society will contribute towards creating such vital members of society, so it should be treated as such. Lastly, education creates an intelligent society that is highly democratic. Former dictators, like Hitler, have tried to undermine education to oppress their followers. If education is turned into a privilege, then the democratic principles that this country boasts about would be severely undermined. Impact of rights on education. Students' rights play a tremendous role in education because their needs ought to be protected through schooling. Concerns about their ability to control or safeguard their lives have caused most stakeholders to advocate for compulsory schooling. Family rights also come into play because some households lack the financial capability to pay for their children's education. This means that an external structure ought to come into place to safeguard their rights. Lastly, societal rights contribute to education because one must consider society's developmental and social needs. These can only be accommodated if all of society has access to at least a basic form of schooling. The role of choice. The choice should come into play when free education starts to become ineffective or when parents need to safeguard their children against the pitfalls of the public system. Sometimes, making education a right can lead to resource shortages, hence poor educational outcomes. Parents should have the choice of taking their children to private schools if this is the case. Sometimes, parents may wish to teach their children specific values or focus on certain areas of specialty. This is where charter schools or private schools come into play. For instance, they may take their children to Catholic schools in order to teach them those religious values. Therefore, parents should have a choice when they wish to pursue greater efficiency or specialty. Did you like this Education Should Be a Right Not a Privilege sample? To get more works like this one, make sure to check out the free database of academic paper examples at ivypanda.com. You will find thousands of samples for all your study needs, without even having to register.